Muy buenas amigos, soy Andy Gaming y estamos otro capítulo más de The Council. Bueno chicos, ya hemos terminado el episodio 1, ¿vale? Del juego. Así que vamos a empezar con el 2, son 5. Así que quedan todavía unos pocos de capítulos más. Bueno, sin más dilaciones, os dejo con el capítulo de hoy.
How many times must I tell you? You must never put your life on the line for me.
Mother has always had a fascination for Lord Mortimer, but has never wanted to tell me why.
We are doing our utmost to find your mother as quickly as possible. Without your mother, hundreds of men of the cloth would have gone to the guillotine.
All I can tell you is I'm looking for my sister.
Do you believe your mother capable of torturing a child?
An agreement for cannons. Lord Mortimer assured me that you are to take over the project on behalf of your mother.
Johann Christoph von Wollner, Minister of Religious Affairs, and Jacques Peroux, French Revolutionary Tribunal Judge. You will find that Lord Mortimer is not what one would call conventional, Monsieur de Richet. Monsieur de Richet, I am arresting you for the murder of Elizabeth Adams.
Ostras. Acordaos que en el capítulo anterior nos drogó la tía esta. Nos drogó la tía esta, ¿vale? La loca, la pilla esta, la Elizabeth esta. No, Elizabeth no, se llamaba... Esperaros un momento. Si me deja... Ahora no me deja, no sé por qué. Bueno, nos drogó la colgada esta, ¿vale? Y luego apareció muerta. Así es que manuscritos para equipar 2. O sea, podemos equipar 2. Estos ya están leídos. Pensamiento, un punto de habilidad en erupción, un punto de habilidad en psicología, un punto de habilidad en protocolo, en lógica y en protocolo. Vamos a coger uno en lógica. Ah, tenemos aquí otro. Aquí el de ciencia, lingüística y erupción. Y este. Vale. Ok. No. Ahí, ahora. Y empezamos la misión, chicos. Chicos y chicas. Despacho de Lord Mortimer, 22 de enero de 1793. ¿Veis? Episodio 2, Hide and Seek.
Is there nothing you want to say, Louis?
It wasn't me. I didn't kill her.
I'd much rather have met you under different circumstances.
Lord Mortimer, believe me, I'm very conscious of the gravity of the situation. Everything seems to point to me as the one who killed Elizabeth, but I swear I am innocent.
¿Veis? Elizabeth se llamaba así.
For your mother. Rest assured that I do want to believe you.
And all I want is to be able to prove it to you. When do we start?
We already have. Tell me, Louis, how do you feel?
¿Cómo se siente? Atrapado como una rata, ligeramente perdido. Ligeramente
I feel a
perdido.
bit disoriented.
That's only normal in your situation. You can hardly say you've been left unscathed lately. First, the disappearance of your mother, and now, this murder.
Where are you going with this, my lord?
Sarah's behavior grew odd before her disappearance. Her attitude changed. She became prey to outbursts of violence and a number of temporary absences. I'm just trying to make sure that you don't go getting lost like your mother did.
You're not suggesting that I might have killed Elizabeth and that I don't remember, are you?
I don't know, Louis. It's just that what with your mother and now you, it's rather a lot. The more I take stock of the situation, the more I'm under the impression that you've been set up. But before going any further, I must inform you that Sir Gregory is about to arrive. He is coming to question you about the murder of poor Elizabeth, whom he was very fond of. He is quite determined to find the culprit, whomever they may be. So, convince him of your innocence. Then we can continue this conversation.
Vale.
William, I would like...
Vale, vamos, ya tenemos personaje relevado. Tan, 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 tan. William Mortimer. Lord Mortimer Alexander Mortimer, marqués de Westfordshire y par de Gran Bretaña. Es un aristócrata irlandés, iba a decir yo. Un aristócrata inglés extremadamente opulento y tan discreto como influyente. Mortimer fue un virtuoso en el arte de los negocios y un inversor de gran talento. Acabó retirándose de la escena pública y aislándose cada vez con más frecuencia en su isla privada. Como mecenas, financia a un gran número de artistas de diferentes ámbitos y disfruta reuniendo a personalidades inusuales. Tiene un gran afán por hacer lo mismo con las eminencias de este mundo, hombres de influencia y estadistas de la época. A menudo organiza eventos sociales en su isla privada en el litoral de Inglaterra. Ok.
See you a moment before we begin. In private.
Let's step outside a moment. Louis, this will only take a few moments.
Registrar el estudio. Espere. Puf, es que si no la vamos a liar. ¿Qué hacemos? Vamos a esperar.
Myself look more suspicious than I already do.
Good evening, Monsieur de Richet.
Likewise, Sir Gregory.
Well then, let us begin. Monsieur de Richet, you were found standing over Miss Adams' body. We must shed some light on your responsibility in this tragedy. We shall then decide on your fate. But you must know that if you do not convince us of your innocence, it will cost you dearly.
Se va a poner la cosa
Now you are
cruda.
going to tell us everything that happened last night, without leaving any detail out. First things first, how did your evening begin?
Estaba con Emily. Elizabeth me preguntó si podíamos hablar. Lo primero es lo primero, ¿cómo empezó la noche? Elizabeth me indicó que fuera a su habitación.
I was in the corridor and I was about to go to bed. Elizabeth appeared as if from nowhere and rushed toward me. She took me by the arm and led me to her room.
You say she led you? All right, we'll accept that. Continue.
We were heading for our rooms when Elizabeth burst into the corridor, barely dressed. She was panic-stricken and insisted on speaking to me. So I found myself in Elizabeth's room. We sat down together. She insisted we have a drink or she would refuse to confide in me.
What exactly did she want to speak about at such a late hour?
De su infancia con mi madre. ¿Qué es eso? Dile que tenía miedo de Mortimer. Contarles que ella se sentía mejor. Afirmó haber visto a mi madre la noche anterior.
She was panicked. She claimed she had just seen my mother on the island.
Did she say where she saw her?
En una cueva. En los acantilados. En una cueva. Joder, vamos a gastar todo esto. Venga.
Not sure, but I think she spoke of a cave.
A cave? Strange.
Let us continue. And what happened next?
Then she told me she'd poured laudanum in my glass. The next minute I was on the floor. When I woke up, she was lying in a pool of blood.
That is all you have to say? You expect us to believe that you have no idea what happened to her?
Yes, because I'm telling you the truth.
How can you possibly expect us to believe you?
Gregory, we must consider every possibility. Louis, do you have any idea who could have done it?
¡Oh! Hasta podría Jack Perú, mi madre, no sé. Joder. Esperad un momento. Vamos a ver, que quiero ver yo una cosa. La próxima habilidad no tiene ningún coste, sí, pero ya no... Revela temporalmente las inmunidades de vulnerabilidad que afectan a tus elecciones. Cura las alteraciones negativas. Vamos a ver. No
Look,
sé.
frankly, it's beyond me. I just don't know.
Monsieur de Richet, don't you think it would be in your interest to help us find
Joder.
another suspect?
Mi madre... Washington... Joder, ¿qué culpamos? ¿A nuestra madre? Washington, Jacques Pegou... La vamos a cagar, ¿eh? La vamos a cagar. ¿Qué hacemos?
Judging by the situation, I'm at the top of your list of suspects.
William gave you every opportunity to shift suspicion onto someone else. You have a very strange method of defending yourself, young man.
La hemos cagado.
So, Louis, what would your motive be?
Well, given the abuse my mother inflicted on the young woman, I might have wanted to protect her reputation, and tried to hush it up by getting rid of the only witness.
That makes sense.
But thinking about it, it also makes your mother the ideal suspect. And since us suspecting you is not the best form of defense, do you want to try again?
Let's finish
Última
this.
oportunidad.
I don't rightly
no.
know how we can give the benefit of the doubt to an individual who can manipulate the truth to absurdity.
Louis, unfortunately, you
Condenado.
haven't managed to convince us. You will agree that you had the time and the motive to commit the murder. I am devastated, but I must agree with Gregory and declare you guilty.
Nos declaran culpable.
Gentlemen, if you please, wait. There is something else. Elizabeth ended up telling me why my mother had tried to treat her.
The voices in her head, is that
She
it?
spoke to you about them too, didn't she? Gentlemen, I'm not a doctor, but she was persuaded she heard voices in her head. You don't think she might have killed herself,
By
do
stabbing
you?
herself 9 times. I find that extremely unlikely, don't you?
What? Stabbed 9 times?
It appears that the murderer walked up and stabbed her several times from behind. We counted 9 gashes in all. All of them were relatively shallow, and they were all given from roughly the same angle of attack. Traces of blood appear to prove that she was standing throughout the attack.
Los rastros de sangre indican que se encontraba de pie durante el ataque. Cortes pocos profundos. No tiene pruebas en mi contra. Cortes pocos
I might not have the
profundos.
strength of Hercules, but if I had stabbed a woman, I'd probably have made deeper cuts.
Sounds plausible. I have to admit, you put forward a powerful argument, Monsieur de Richet.
I think that will be all, Gregory. The benefit of the doubt suffices.
Bueno, lo hemos arreglado. Este cabrón.
I would like to thank you for helping us shed light on what happened last night. To be honest, you are
Abogado.
not the only suspect. I'm prepared to believe you were drugged. Our poor Elizabeth hid the stuff everywhere, and I could smell laudanum on you 3 yards away.
So you knew it wasn't me from the start?
We weren't sure. Louis, I am sorry, but everything points in the same direction. I only know one person on this island who might have had a big enough grudge against Elizabeth, who has no alibi, and whose behavior is
Su madre.
suspect. Not to mention dangerous.
Tell me what happened before my arrival. I think I've been patient enough.
You don't need us for any of this. So come along, Monsieur Peru. We are leaving.
Monsieur Perú.
Right. It's time we spoke about your mother, Louis.
No ha desaparecido, se está escondiendo, lo hace con frecuencia. Lo hace con
When I first
frecuencia.
came here, I wasn't that worried. In the past, my mother has taken a few liberties during her missions, including disappearing for several days on end.
That doesn't make me feel any better, Louis.
What was the official reason why my mother came to your island?
I knew about your mother's activities, and yours, in the Golden Order. I thought we had everything to gain by working together.
You mean the canon deal with Monsieur Bonaparte?
Among others, yes. How did you hear about that?
Monsieur Bonaparte came to speak to me about it yesterday, during lunch.
I see. So impetuous. He was supposed to let me speak to you about it first. Our friend Napoleon desperately needed financial backing to properly equip his army. I took it upon myself to back him because I have a firm conviction that he can go far. Yet he told me that you had spoken and that you hadn't been able to reach an understanding.
That's putting it mildly. Monsieur Bonaparte is one of those guys who only understands people who think like he does.
Ah, I see what you mean. He is indeed rather inflexible when it comes to certain subjects. But I am still of the opinion that you can manage to get along.
We shall see. However,
Ya veremos. Sin
there's
embargo,
one
hay
thing
una
that
cosa que me
surprises me.
sorprende. Mi madre vendía armas. ¿Por qué ayudar a un teniente? Mi madre vendía
Did my
armas.
mother intend to finance a war? I'm not sure that I follow.
No, your mother's aim was not so much to partake in a war, but rather to make Monsieur Bonaparte accountable. France is in turmoil, and having the support of a military man can often come in handy, Louis. You'll see. Once this deal was closed, I had big plans for Sarah.
Such as what?
You see, I've invited several influential figures on my island to present them with a project at the conference. It will be presented later today. I thought that the Golden Order had a role to play. And I still think so. I was hoping Sarah would be able to join us.
I see.
Indeed, if by chance your mother decided not to return to us before the conference, would you do me the great honor of attending? If only to follow the deliberations while waiting for her to duly take her seat.
Why not? We shall see.
Ah, thank you so much. In this way, you'll be able to keep your mother informed of what is said. There's something else I'd like to briefly go over. Earlier, you asked me the official reason for your mother's presence here. Is there an off-the-record reason why your mother came here?
¿Acaso hay una razón oficial por la que vino aquí su madre? No tengo ni la más mínima idea. Estaba buscando un comprador. No tenemos ni idea, ¿no?
If only my mother had trusted me, but she remained very mysterious. I'd have been delighted to answer your question.
Is this usual for her?
As head of the Order, secrets are her bread and butter, as you can imagine. That said, it's the first time she hasn't let me in on the reason for her trip. And it intrigues me, to tell you the truth.
Well, I'm sure that Sarah will explain everything once she reappears. There's something I still don't get. In your opinion, why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
¿Por qué se iba a seguir ocultándose su madre después de semanas? Tal vez desconfíe de alguien, puede que descubriera algo, tal vez haya perdido la cabeza. No, hombre. Yo creo, o ha descubierto algo, o desconfía de alguien. Puede que
Maybe
descubriera
she
algo.
found something out.
What do you mean?
My mother has a gift for investigating. If she had picked up a lead, nothing would have stopped her.
The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. At the beginning of her stay here, we enjoyed spending time together, solving the world's problems.
Ya basta de hablar de ella. ¿Qué hay de su desaparición? ¿De qué hablaban cuando estaban juntos?
You
Eso.
seem to know my mother very well, my lord. What did you talk about together?
Oh, as soon as we had a little free time, we liked to share points of view about practically any subject. We would find ourselves embarked on interminable discussions that could go from Monsieur Blanchard's flight in a hot air balloon to the Treaty of Jersey, or the adoption of the metric system in France last year, or even Mr. Eli Whitney's invention in the United States.
Vale. Fascinante, no podemos hacer otra cosa, ¿vale? Pues no tenemos desbloqueada política y erupción.
My mother must have undoubtedly taken great pleasure in these exchanges. She always was one to appreciate broadening her knowledge. I'm surprised she didn't get you started on the Crusades. It was her favorite subject.
Are you joking? Sarah and I spent entire days together reliving them. It so happens that the Crusades are also my subject of predilection, especially the third. My ancestor distinguished himself brilliantly during the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre.
No sabemos nada de erupción.
Unfortunately, my lord, the Crusades are not my chosen field.
Well, it doesn't matter. You have plenty of time to learn. Your mother is a very well-read woman. You're quite lucky to have her as a model, Louis.
Yes, I know, but I'm still very worried.
I must admit, there are worse things to worry about now, Louis.
What do you mean?
Since she disappeared, your mother has been seen once. Her behavior on the evening of your arrival greatly surprised Gregory and myself. She resurfaced to attack Emma, Emily Hillsborough's twin sister. And she shot her with a pistol. Then, before Gregory could intervene, she ran off and disappeared again.
I beg your pardon? Hang on.
Emily has a twin sister who knew my mother? But she playing it, goddammit. That means my vision on the wharf, it was actually happening inside the manor. Mother shot Emily's sister? The very person she came looking for? Why would she do that?
Excuse me, but between that and the childhood of Lady Adams, it's all a bit much for me to cope with. I need to piece it all together again to see things more clearly. You said that you spent a lot of time talking together at the beginning. What happened for that to change?
I'm afraid I haven't much to tell you. The more the days went by, the more she withdrew into herself. She never gave me an explanation, until the day came when she purely and simply disappeared.
Where did she go when she wanted to be alone?
She would shut herself away in a room we use as a box room upstairs.
Would you allow me to go there?
Naturally, Louis, of course. I'll send you a servant
Hay
to...
que subir arriba.
Thank you.
One last thing, although I don't know if there is a connection.
I'm listening.
A gate was forced the other night near the wharf. Nothing serious, just a few small things damaged.
Excusarte, mentirle. Excusarte.
Sorry, my lord, but I was searching for leads to my mother. I thought I was hot on her trail and didn't take any precautions.
Well, you could have reported it to a servant. But never mind. I shall put it down to your ardor and anxiety.
Ahí está.
However, please try to respect my state in future.
Vale, la
I certainly will.
respetaremos.
Please accept my sincerest apologies.
That's all I can tell you about the disappearance of your mother, Louis. I would like to have been more helpful.
I shall stay on her trail and follow up any leads.
Thank you. We will meet later on to welcome our last guest. In the meantime, I shall get someone to open the box room upstairs for you.
Thank you.
The room was just opposite Mortimer's study.
Pues bueno, amigos, vamos a dejar por aquí el capítulo de hoy, ¿vale, chicos? Seguiremos buscando pistas en el siguiente. Y nada, espero que os haya gustado. A mí la verdad que este juego me está encantando. Y nada, chicos y chicas, nos vemos en el siguiente capítulo. ¡Hasta luego!